Well, when I was governor of California, I tried every which way to bring the people
I'm just saying, you had.
It's not a bad Schwarzenegger impression, I gotta say.
Well, let's stick to the core issue here, which of course
Katie Porter, and I rue the day I ever liked her. I rue the day. I look. She showed a good game with the whiteboard, and taken down some CEOs, and it looked really nice. And now I'm
gonna do a whiteboard of all of the donations that Katie Porter has taken from liberal Zionist organizations. And then I'm going to do a whiteboard of how many children were killed per dollar she took after her I Stand with Israel statement on October 11th. Because everyone that said in that time frame, I stand with Israel, was a material accomplice to genocide. Plainly. And I just to highlight the difference, right? On October 11th, I was organizing a Black and Palestinian solidarity talk at my mosque in Santa Barbara. And I was planning the first march, public march, liberation march, back when people were afraid to say boo about Palestine. Remember how tight-lipped everybody was at the beginning of the genocide, because I knew what was coming. You don't have to be Nostradamus. You just have to have read a history book or two. You knew that the language was genocidal language and that they were getting ready to try to carry out their final solution. So anybody that co-signed for that final solution is complicit. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to get Katie beat real bad here in California, because people are not going to vote for somebody that can't say free Palestine out loud in this state. It's just not going to happen. Like, people want an end to California's special relationship with Israel, which literally includes like a bunch of money for cybersecurity. Like, why does the state of California need to have a special relationship with Israel? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to tell you that. And by the way, being on stage with him, Katie knows. Katie knows. I mean, Katie is I think an adjunct faculty member at one of the smaller schools. Like, thank you. Yeah. Like Katie knows the difference between me and her intellectually. she knows the difference between those, and everybody in that room learned the difference between somebody who is playing politics and somebody who is speaking truth.
Well, she's been used to dealing with lightweights for the longest time. Somebody who knows what they're doing. And this is just an example, guys, of this was only from a couple of months ago. But if you scroll down, Colin, California gubernatorial candidates address Israel-Palestine conflict is not a conflict, it is a genocide, period. And I'm sure you're the only candidate who has said this. So, Colin, if you could just scroll down, I just want people to see some of the highlights specifically pertaining to what some of these candidates actually said, including Katie Porter. And the so-called divide, if you will. But if you scroll down a little bit further, we've got some choice words that some of these candidates decided to say. So one of the candidates, scroll up just slightly, one of the candidates that is running, who I don't believe is he is not the billionaire, but he's definitely going to be somebody who is going to get a lot of support from the Democratic Party machine in Los Angeles, is Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, raised the terrorist attack on Israel most directly when he spoke to the Jewish public. Yep, to JPAC, that's what it's called. Gathering at the state's capital on Tuesday. For me, October 7th was a day that will live in me and a day that will be seared in my memory. To see women and children brutalized, older people, again, the dehumanization of Palestinians. That's the whole point. Also, the anti-Muslim contingent is also a huge part of this too. Don't kid yourself. Very Catholic of you, Villaraigosa, I must say. Let me just throw that in there too. Look, I'm well aware of what Hamas does. Hamas put their ammunition. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Did you see what happened earlier today, Villaraigosa? Yeah, that was definitely Hamas. So much so that Netanyahu felt he had to make a statement about it. They put their rockets under apartment. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So we all know this guy's a piece of shit. So let's see what Katie Porter had to say.
She spoke about rising anti-Semitism.
rising.
Oh, yes.
That's a big problem, guys.
That's the problem.
Especially in really, really dangerous Orange County, California, let me tell you. So we have to be honest and just say that it is scary right now to be a Jewish person. It is scary to be American in many instances because we are seeing rising hate. And that hate has been targeted in particular at the Jewish people. And at Jewish, you see, language like this creates anti-Semitism. Or it's not even anti-Semitism because they're not Semites. Anti-Jewish sentiment comes from.
Can I tell you what makes this Jewish person feel very threatened and uncomfortable? Because I can be very clear about that. All of the Israelis that are coming here, that is very threatened and uncomfortable. I can't go to Pilates and enjoy it anymore with like little Tel Aviv hanging out in the little lobby area.
Little Tel Aviv.
This is no. We have a serious influx of genocidal, psychopathic people that are coming here. I am scared of that as a Jewish person. So I'm just saying.
Thankfully, your voters are not in Bel Air and they are not in Beverly. Well, there may be some voters for you in Bel Air and Beverly Hills, but thankfully, where a lot of the Zios hang out and in places like Sherman Oaks, you're not going to find too much of your support network there anyway. Thankfully, that is a small part of the electorate. And a lot of them are also mixes between Democrats and Republicans, and they're very loyal to their party line. But I'm telling you, man, they are isolating themselves from the rest of the country and the rest of the world, quite frankly. And so, as Porter says, as a law professor at UC Irvine, there is a line above which you cannot go when it comes to speech. Oh, really? So now she wants to mess with free speech. This, to me, and again, we can look at though governors do not craft foreign policy, California's voice is influential because of the large number of Jewish and Muslim residents who live here, the second most of any state in the nation of both religious groups. So that, in a lot of ways, I think, is going to play a significant role. Now, what I do think is also a very important campaign strategy, if it hasn't already been talked about, you saw what happened in Iowa City recently. I think almost every community in the state of California probably would want to know how much of their tax dollars is actually being sent over to Israel. The same thing can be duplicated, and you as a candidate, you have a wide open lane.
And I'm the only one that can say it. And it's not just that. It's not a political lane for me. It's who I am. Like,
right.
I there was no political benefit for me risking my job on October 11th or October 21st of 2023. I did it because it's the right thing to do, and it's because what Malcolm would have done under the circumstances. And so there's a certain kind of like political instrumentalism that goes into the calculus of everybody else. But the thing is that you're never going to get that from me. And that's what also, as much as anything, people responded to in the SEIU room, is that you could literally see Katie's head working when she's answering a question about, can we move to a 4-day, 32-hour work week? I can literally see her picking the donor that she cannot offend. And every last one of them hemmed and hawed and shucked and jived and said, we'll look at it. And I was the only one that said, union labor got us the 40-hour work week and a 5-day work week. I can't see why it couldn't get us a 4-day work week and a 32-hour work week. And I know what that looks like in practice, because when I was on research leave in France, they had a 4-hour work day. Right. And the world didn't fall apart. And especially with so much telework available, this is really just a mechanism of control. People's productivity is not affected, by relinquishing some of this corporate control. So the thing is I'm the only one that can say those things. And it's not a political calculus for me. It's just actual and factual. I believe in those things. And what's more, I am not beholden to any corporate donors, because we don't take any corporate money. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Who funds you runs you. And we're funded by the people. That means the people are going to run us. And the Democrats are funded by the corporations and AIPAC. And that means the corporations and AIPAC are going to run them.
I will say this. When I was in Southern California a few months ago, and this was a Saturday, mind you. And I did the horrific drive from LA to San Diego along I-5. And this is on a Saturday, mind you.
Brutal.
And I'm looking at this traffic and I'm thinking of a couple of things. One, how do they make these highways so narrow? And two, how is there a train track that runs directly parallel with this roadway and it isn't being used? So as Governor of California, I'd be curious to hear what some of your state policies will be, especially with transportation, which I have no doubt, especially for working class Californians, that is one of the primary issues that they face on a daily basis.
Excellent. So I literally was just coming into the StreamYard waiting room late because I was supposed to have a 1 hour interview here with CBS Sacramento. They're chopping it up, over the next couple weeks. Julie Watts kept me there for 2 hours because she could not get enough, of this different kind of conversation. So apologies for being late, but we discussed exactly this in that interview, which is why I cited it. They're asking me a question about how do we lower gas prices in the state of California and how the high cost of gas is affecting working families, and it's hitting hard the people that are economically marginalized. And I was like, we're not going to gas vehicle our way out of a transportation crisis in Southern California. What we need is free, clean public transportation in every major metropolitan area. And we need a high-speed train that runs from San Diego to Sacramento and then from Sacramento up to Humboldt. Like the state should be economically integrated. I said, think about this. We're talking about lowering the cost of gas so that we can have more fossil fuels, so that we can have more global warming, so that we can have more wildfires. Explain to me, y'all, why I had to take 2 different planes and put how much jet fuel into the environment just to fly from Santa Barbara to Sacramento this morning, when the Chinese can build you a train that will get you there in about 90 minutes. It makes no sense. And then so first of all, and the Democrats have no answers or solutions or how we're going to protect our environment, because even the ones that they argue for are ones that serve corporate interests first, right? So think about this. How do we skip past the public transportation part right to personal electric vehicles, right? Because this isn't the solution either. There's not enough lithium in the planet to replace all of the gas vehicles on the planet now. So the answer is obvious. The answer is you have to have a high-speed rail line. Do you guys remember when Obama promised us that? I
remember when Obama promised a lot of things.
Before we found out he was just a black imperialist, right? I mean, they come in all colors,
they come in all colors.
I mean, I teach African history. So I understand that the decolonization of the African continent wasn't complete when neo-colonial black rulers replaced white colonial rulers, but they operated exactly the same kind of colonial state. You don't have to explain to me that oppressors can come in different colors, and I'm an equal opportunity opponent to anybody that's an oppressor. I don't care if your skin is like this or your skin is like this. If you're an enemy of the people, then you're an enemy to me. So that's the kind of working class politics and ethic that we need. One last thing on the governor. You guys might have seen that the campaign has asked me to lean in on the fitness component, the workout videos. So I've been posting more of those things. I'm just going to tell you, anytime any of these political candidates, and unlike Arnold, I did it all naturally. You can test me at any point in time. I've never cheated on anything in my life, and especially, not with what I put into my body. So even at age 51, I'm 51 right now. Last year at age 50, I hit a 500-pound squat. I hit 225 for 30 reps on the bench, which is like defensive tackles at the NFL Combine.
Hate you.
Yeah, and so all I'm saying is that if they want to bring Gavin in, if they want to bring Arnold out of retirement, if they want to bring any of their right-wing manosphere talking heads, send me Joe Rogan, send me Jake Paul, not for boxing, I'm too old for that, but I'll take him to the weight room anytime. I'll take Jake Paul to the weight room anytime.
it's sad, but it's true. I mean,
honestly.
honestly.
And on behalf of many people, we appreciate the uploads.
I appreciate the inspiration because, like I said, I did my back workout a little while ago, and let me tell you something.
Oh, you did the back workout? How'd it go?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, listen, when you're on the T-bar row and you're pulling an excess of 200 pounds, let me tell you, there's something about a strong back, especially a strong lower back, because I did it combined with the T-bar row and the deadlifts and then the barbell rows. And so when you're doing that, it's an incredibly there's almost like a morphic type feeling that you have when you're exercising with that type of weight. And I say this to all men. I mean, I love women who work out too. Like I like physically fit women.
I met my wife at the gym, a little 5'2", 125-pound Mexican squatting 285 by 3, and I was like, she had me at hello.
Okay, see, I feel like there's this weightlifting discrimination happening because I'm a Pilates person. So I do Pilates
in your too.
So let me tell you, Jen, this is very important to know, is our volunteer coordinator, the amazing Wendy Kieslich. She's actually a yoga instructor that's by trade. And we are about to roll out the Fitness and Wellness Challenge nationwide so that people can start, it's not just about, the meatheads, it's also about, the wellness, because ultimately that's really what it's about. The truth is that there's a fitness to fascist pipeline that the alt-right is now grooming kids through weight room videos, and people that aren't about promoting fascism need to take that back with saying I'm not against conventional expressions of masculinity, but I know a man can look a lot of different ways and move a lot of different ways, and that doesn't bother me because I'm secure, right? Go ahead.
But I also think it's very important, and I would say this to the audience and everybody, is, again, we're not getting into the whole, gym bro conversation, but there is a crisis of masculinity in this country for many reasons. And the least of which is, as you've pointed out, there was kind of like a deliberate movement against masculinity. They called it toxic masculinity, but let's be honest. We know what the Democratic Party establishment was doing. It was very deliberate. And as far as I'm concerned, it gave way to the more toxic side of it that you see in more conservative politics. I think being a candidate that is in great physical shape is actually a really good thing.
It's important. It's important. I was like that too. When I was running, I always was very you have to be in that when you're a candidate.
Well, but it's also rooted in the wellness, Jen, to take it to your part. So people that know my story, I was 330 pounds, battling, major health issues. So I took it as that this has to become if I want to be of service to my community, and if I want to do the things that I want to do in the world, that ultimately my physical health, my physical body is the instrument that I have to use to negotiate, my way through the world. And so ultimately, that's the thing. Yeah, everybody likes to look nice and all those things, but ultimately it's not about aesthetics, it's about ethics. Because no matter what your disability status or your age or your gender, you can find out through physical activity, whether it's yoga, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's a sport, you can find a better center for yourself. The endorphins are good for your mental health and for your physical health. We need to claim that space back, because it shouldn't be the case that just by wanting to take care of your body, whatever that body may look like, then you got to listen to a bunch of, misogynistic propaganda and all kinds of other madness.